Well, hey everyone, welcome to Proverb each day. It is Sunday. That means that we are going from a pre-recorded kind of a thing here, but yeah, it's okay. Yeah. In fact, let me go ahead and put this on the screen right now. Oh, actually, lost my. uh, yeah, I made some changes in the background, and so I lost some of my automations here, the things I can put up on the screen. I apologize for that. So we'll have to bear with me. But in the description down below, you'll see a link to our church service. Feel free to join us at 10 o'clock Central Time, 10 a.m. Central Time, obviously. And yes, I play in the band. I'd love to have you. You'll be able to see me, I'm sure, looking awesome up on stage. We're going to dive into Proverb 11. But first, let's get started with a little bit of prayer. Father God, thank you so much for a wonderful morning and for reminding us of all the great things that you've done for us. So I honestly am in awe of just how all this works together. And so, Father, I ask you would bless this time and bless the wisdom that you have for us into our lives. I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Well, let's dive in, shall we? At the end of the video, I'll actually share more about the fasting time that we're doing, and feel free to join me. There is a, pardon me, there is a link to join with us and do some Zoom calls and things like that. I'll have that enrollment open until the end of the day today. After that, I'm going to close that off and make it so that we just anybody who's enrolled is that private group. So if you're looking at this process, you want to do that in its day. So anyway, I'll have more about that at the end. Let's dive into Proverb 11 from the Message translation. Here we go. Without good direction, the people lose their way. God hates cheating in the marketplace. He loves it when business is above board. The stuck up fall flat on their faces, but the down to earth people stand firm. The integrity of the honest keeps them on track. The deviousness of crooks brings them to ruin. A thick bankroll is no help when life falls apart. A principled life can stand up to the worst. Pretty good. Moral character makes for smooth traveling. An evil life is a hard life. Good character is the best insurance. Crooks get trapped in their sinful lust. When the wicked die, that's it. The story's over. End of hope. A good person is saved from much trouble. A bad person runs straight into it. The loose tongue of the godless spreads destruction. The common sense of the godly preserves them. When it goes well for good people, the whole town cheers. When it goes badly for bad people, the town celebrates. Yikes. Yeah. When right living people bless the city, it flourishes. Evil talk turns it into a ghost town in no time. Mean spirited slander is heartless. Quiet discretion accompanies good sense. A gadabout gossip can't be trusted with a secret, but someone of integrity won't violate a confidence. Gadabout. I don't know if I've ever used that word before. Gadabout. A gadabout gossip can't be trusted with a secret, but someone of integrity won't violate a confidence. Without good direction, the people lose their way. The more wise counsel you follow, the better your chances. We've seen this one before, haven't we? Whoever makes deals with strangers is sure to get burned. If you keep a cool head, you'll avoid rash bargains. A woman of gentle grace gets respect. Men of rough violence grab for loot. When you're kind to others, you help yourself. When you are cruel to others, you hurt yourself. Kind of cool. Bad work gets paid with a bad check. Good work gets solid pay. Take your stand with God's loyal community and live, or chase after phantoms of evil and die. God can't stand deceivers, but oh, how he relishes integrity. Count on this: the wicked won't get off scot free, and God's loyal people will triumph. Like a gold ring and a pig's snout is a beautiful face on an empty head. Wow. Mhm, mhm. Uh, I'm gonna be nice. I wasn't gonna be, but there's a the area. Oh, sorry, I have a weird background now. Soon, coming soon. There is a certain reality of the area in which I lived. I don't know if it's so true where I am now in Colombia, um, but it is something in Franklin that I saw a lot of, where you see a lot of uh, well, let's just say it as it is. There's a lot of women that are like posing for photos in front of things and all that kind of stuff, and I can't help but think of things like this. Is like, okay, yeah, you're pretty, but what what's behind that, and where do you what are you contributing here? You know, what is the point here? Anyway, we have more proverbs to come on that, but that's just something that entered my head at that moment. So I thought I'd offend somebody today, as I do. Let's go on with 23. The desires of good people lead straight to the best. Wicked ambition ends in angry frustration. The world of the generous gets larger and larger. The world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller. That's a good word right there. The one who blesses others is abundantly blessed. Those who help others are helped. Curses on those who drive a hard bargain. Blessings on all those who play fair and square. The one who seeks finds delight. The student of evil becomes evil. A life devoted to things is a dead life, a stump. Oh, to things. Got it. A life devoted to things is a dead life, a stump. A God shaped life is a flourishing tree. Exploit or abuse your family, end up with a fistful of air. Common sense tells you it's a stupid way to live. A good life is a fruit bearing tree. A violent life destroys souls. The good people barely make it. What's in store for the bad? Yeah, there's a theme we've noticed before here with this particular proverb is that yeah, there's a kind of a both and kind of thing. It's like you really, if you're seeking after things that are for yourself or ambitions, that sort of thing, then they're just empty. Um, they may look good in a moment, and oftentimes, even righteous people will be tempted by that and be drawn in by that temptation of trying to get to that moment, that in the moment thing, or that they might be kind of more greedy than they'd like, and they just don't realize that they're being that way. But when you are focused on these things of integrity, then it really becomes easier to spot when that's like not the case, when you know something is not quite fitting in with the way you would do it. um Going out of your pattern is not inherently healthy there, and so I don't obviously don't recommend it. um this is something I say a lot, obviously, because the proverbs say it a lot too, but not going it alone. Without good direction, people lose their way. You know, um, you might have heard it said, "Without vision, the people perish," kind of thing. Um, and I actually put up a video of this. I don't know if I can link that somehow, but I actually recorded like a little short video and was talking about this, that the dreams are something we kind of hold up as the thing, right? We want to have our dreams. It's really vision that we're after here. It's actually direction that we need, not just dreams. Dreams are open to interpretation, right? Vision is clear. It has a defined purpose, and that's a direction. And so the more wise counsel you get, the more that vision becomes solid and a plan. And so we can actually accomplish things together with that. Whereas if we're just always talking about our dreams, then we're not really doing anything, are we? We're just dreaming, and it feels good in a moment, but ultimately doesn't go anywhere. The world of the generous gets larger and larger. The world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller, which is kind of interesting when you think about the dichotomy here. If you're generous, the thought of the world and a lot of Christians, unfortunately, let's be honest, is that there's a finite amount of like wealth in the world. I genuinely don't know where this comes from. I don't know why it's thought of that way. It's not been true literally ever. But there's this um, scarcity thinking that if we give something away, then it's gone forever, kind of a thing, that we won't have it anymore. And so there's two ways of approaching that. One is that whole, I gave a bunch of stuff away. Now woe is me. I'll I made my sacrifice. It's like that, almost like that prostitute language we heard earlier. Or it's very much that whole like, hey, look at me, kind of thing. You may not be aware of yourself doing it, but you are. You're saying, oh, and now I'm suffering because I gave away so much that it hurts. That you hear that kind of thing. Um, yeah, that's not the way God operates. The world of the generous gets larger and larger. You know, the generosity makes abundance, not scarcity. And so if you are feeling stingy, you can give everything you own and still be stingy. That is a thing. You can still have that smart that heart. And so it's really important to have that recognition of abundance that we live in, that wealth is not finite, God's grace is not finite. We have all these things that just increase and increase and increase with no limits. And so we need to live like that. We need to live in that notion that you know we if we are generous of spirit as well as finance, then our world gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because that's the way this works. If we're obsessed with things, obviously that's not great. So if that is your obsession, and I'm not saying it's bad to have physical things or nice things. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what this says. In fact, we read in other proverbs and Ecclesiastes too that it's good to have good things. It's a good thing. But if we're obsessed with them, if our life is devoted to that, then that's just nothing. There's nothing to that life. That's ultimately empty. So yeah, good stuff. I'll get off my high horse here. Let's take a moment and talk about the plan for fasting. So I have a bit of a breakdown here of how this is going to work. And so basically, today is when the process starts. And so the way that I run fasting is a process of the focus time and then of the transition times. And so I think anytime you start to reduce, that is when the fasting is kind of technically beginning. Now, as far as the actual goal of what you're doing in a fast, the way I do mine and the framework that I have I usually recommend about 10 days of the actual process, and then we have additional days of transition, both um, to that point and from that point. And so, with the theme for this year is cleanse us. I'm looking for a time of cleansing, and so it, whether you choose to join me or not on the juice part of this is up to you. But honestly, I wanted to introduce the framework that I use when I'm fasting, and this is a one that is custom made for the um, for juicing. And I should have a different disclaimer on here. I need to do that. That I am not a. I wonder if I can do it like this. Not a doctor. Does this work? Yeah, there you go. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving advice to you specifically. I am showing you a framework that works for me, and that means that if you want to follow this, great. But I always advise that you seek the advice of a medical professional before giving any program any kind of credence in your life, because every person is a little bit different and may have different results. These are the things that work for me, and I invite you to explore this. But I'm not saying in any stretch of the imagination that is absolutely you have to follow this to the letter and get these results. There's no results here. This is just a fast, a time with spent with God, and I'll get more into that as we go along with the week, more along the attitude of fasting, and yeah, and as we grow these programs, we'll have a lot more to say about that as well. But anyway, you can feel free to join us for more private discussions about this, to ask any questions you have, that sort of thing. But here is the program as it stands. So um, I don't know if we can. Yeah, I think you can probably see the screen here. I would assume. I'm actually not sure how this works, but find out, huh? And so that we have the time on today that we're going to start reducing things and eliminating certain things too. I actually I go more aggressive on this at times with certain things, like for me, anything with added sugars, that sort of thing, added sweeteners. That's easy enough to define, I guess. But the problem is, it's like even things like bread may often have added sugars, and so you want to try and avoid as much of that as possible, eliminate that as much as possible throughout the next 2 days. Um, I say that because when it comes to fasting of almost any kind of physical fasting, with your intake of food, that is the thing that the body responds to the most viscerally. It is the thing that actually will be upset about, not having. And so I do very much recommend that you try and eliminate the body's kind of awareness of, you know, especially simple carbohydrates. Now, as we're going into a juice fast, I chose this specifically because it does not eliminate carbohydrates completely. It does keep them. You'll see later on in the process. I do encourage trying to go where you're eliminating carbohydrates almost completely, and just doing like a vegetable only juice, which has very little carbohydrates to it. So that's the thing. The other thing is fats and um, uh, proteins. In my experience with the way my body works, and this is true of a good majority of people as well, um, it it doesn't matter. Eliminating, not eliminating fats or anything like that. It's not like your body craves fats. It's not like your body, now your body does in a way crave protein, but protein. It's important to know that it basically gets turned into energy if it's not needed by the body at that point. And so going without those things for a period of time is usually not any kind of detriment. There is a small amount of protein and whatnot that are in the vegetable juices that we're going to be having. And so, yeah, that's something and it's not eliminated completely, but it is greatly reduced. So we just take those down slowly and kind of start to eliminate those things. So we have the Sunday and Monday process. And then, as you can see here, we kind of go down and start eliminating things as we go and reducing and eliminating as we go. The hard parts are what I'm trying to do here is not eliminate the misery, but kind of build upon the success of getting past the misery. And so when it comes to things like on Tuesday, we eliminate caffeine. So we kind of work backwards with that and say on Monday and maybe even Sunday, we begin to reduce those things in our lives so we can eliminate them without any kind of the body freaking out about it. If you are a person that enjoys the odd bit of wine like myself, same kind of thing. We're taking that to the point where we're reducing that to none early on in the process, and so the body's like you know done with its freak out by the time we're introducing the harder element of our fasting. When I'm doing water only fasting, I usually extend this out even a little bit longer of a period actually to help with that process. But uh, in all this, we are taking control of our eating. We're letting the mind control what's coming in and saying to the body, "No, you are under my jurisdiction. You don't control me. I control you." And then we have faith in God that He is providing for us a good design that is able to sustain this. I get a lot of people that say on the Sunday they do the Fat Tuesday thing. They're just let's go crazy. Um, and you know what? There's a portion of this that I am okay with. I myself am taking the rest of the day and being okay with having like things like I don't know. I think I might have some cake today. There's a little reception going on where I'm at. Little things like that I'll have. But by sundown, I'm actually starting to say, okay, now we're taking control of this stuff. We're eliminating these components, and so we're reducing or eliminating as much as we can of these kind of things that within the comfort tolerance that I can start introducing that discomfort within that process. And so that's how that works. And then there's certain things too, like I find that when I'm doing things like a juice fast, for example, you are pretty dramatically changing the um, the way your blood sugar and blood pressure are responding. So you're monitoring that. I myself have a couple different mechanisms of doing that. I'm also tracking. Well, for me, there's some other additional things that I'm tracking because of my um, medical conditions. So I'm obviously blood pressure is one that's a very big one that I'm taking keeping an eye on. Um, Ironically, I am hoping that Friday goes well for me. I actually have an appointment with my cardiologist, and so we're going to see how that goes. I didn't put that together until literally just yesterday. I saw that and said, "Oh, oops." So I guess we'll either reschedule that or just keep going with it depending on how I'm feeling that day. But I do recommend usually kind of reducing your physical output and allowing yourself that rest. Usually by about day 3 of a fast of this kind, the body is starting to freak out a bit and needs some rest. And so depending on how you're doing with carbohydrates in your juices, you may find that you you you're just you even if you're just drinking as much as you want, you don't feel any kind of hunger necessarily. You're just drinking as much as you feel like you can or want to. You can still feel tired, and so you can still feel a reduction in the way the body wants to respond, and it's important to be okay with that. It's important to give yourself the permission to rest and to reduce your physical activity. So um, by Saturday, I usually find that I'm in solid into nap territory, where I'm wanting to sleep in. I want to sleep a lot during the day. Naps are good because it's allowing the body to recover. It's allowing the juice to literally do its work. It's your body's literally Um, I don't know, maybe I'll get into this another day just because I'm getting too much into this. I'll probably just get into the whole autophagy and things like that, that's going on with the body. It's fascinating stuff. Our bodies are well designed machines that are more perfectly designed than we think they are. Sometimes we don't give them good stuff, but it's okay. That's what we're doing on this. We're doing this cleanse to literally change that. And so as we go on during the process, there's things you can try to eliminate, um, and do other things. I think I might on the 20th, for example. I usually recommend at some point in a juice process getting rid of the really high glucose juices, like your oranges and things like that, and sticking to like apple, like green apple and things like that that have a very slow increase to your blood sugar. But I often will try and just do only vegetables. In fact, for me, I might actually integrate that sooner rather than later. It is a much tougher variant of the juice fast, but it's something to try out and see how you do with it. But it is like you're pretty much completely eliminating your carbohydrates at that point, and so um, I don't necessarily recommend it to be as a long term thing. Now, if you're somebody like me that has plenty of stored energy to feed from, this might be a good time frame to actually have an added benefit of eating through some of that belly fat. That is a thing. So but doing that way where it's just a very low carbohydrate juices will tend to do that. You just need to make sure you're drinking plenty of that and plenty of water in order to make that work. Otherwise, you could be, a detriment to your health, I'm sure. But again, this is something where going to that level, I always recommend having some medical guidance on that if you want to, and be ready to slowly pull the plug on that if you need to say, okay, well, this is too much. My body's not handling this well enough. I'm not getting anything spiritual out of this, and I'm feeling that panic, and it's not going anywhere. It's not giving me any peace, that sort of thing. It might be time to reintroduce some fruit and things like that. But don't just give up. Never give up with a fast all at once. A fast like this, anyway, for sure. That's the worst thing you can do. In fact, you'll see. I'll just say this real quick, and then we'll eliminate for the rest of the day, or eliminate. Oh, I just read a word on the. I didn't mean to say that, but I read it on the screen. We will quit for the day after this. But one of the final concepts when I do a fast like this that is more intensive is it's important to transition back in slowly with a couple things. One, with your what you're intaking as far as like your uh, carbohydrates and things like that. You want to kind of introduce that more slowly, but also in terms of the physical, um, what you're eating. If you've done a very intensive fast like this, there's a couple things. One, the palate, the top of your mouth actually softens, and so you need to be introducing soft vegetables and avocados, things like that that are very easy for the body to work to for the mouth to work through, and also the body to process. Um, Keep juicing during that time, obviously, but and then we introduce more of the sweets, some soft proteins, um, some of the harder vegetables, kind of rebuild the mouth and what it's doing, and then um, on that last day, we start to slowly introduce things like caffeine and some other carbohydrates if you want to. I am actually using this as a kickoff point for a carnivore diet, and so I'm going to go back into that lifestyle following this fast. But I wanted to do this juice fast first as kind of a reset before I get back into that lifestyle. And there's other types of fasting too. I think that um, once those cravings have been eliminated, it's much easier to get into a lifestyle diet that I've previously established and had previous medical direction to get into, that I've let go in my life and have been suffering my health wise as a result of that. So my plan is to get right back into that and do what was successful and actually listen to the guidance of my physicians for a change. Yeah. So hopefully this is something that is helpful to you. Um, Feel free to share the word on this if you want to. But I will be going obviously as part of my lives every day. I'll be adding on the end just how things are going and walking through the process and additional observations and things like that. But yeah, just to say once again, not a doctor, just some random guy on the internet. So I'm just showing you what I do. I'm not saying you should do this or not. I'm just saying that this is what I do, and you can feel free to join me with the guidance of your physician. Awesome. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, until Monday morning at 8:30. Be blessed by the best and be a blessing to all the rest. Love you guys.